Welcome, everyone. This is Pal Niels, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news from LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week, I am joined by Krister
Hello.
and Cinders.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. It looks like we've got a news-filled episode this week because there's a great deal going on, including another update to the game, update 42.3.
43.2.
43.2. Yes, 43.2.
I'm on it. Don't worry.
So, update 43.2. And in this, we include, first off, news and noteworthy. Newly acquired Adventurer's Steelbound loot box gear for level 150 characters will now scale to item levels 526 through 528. So they are boosting that up a little bit. I smell a boost that probably is a result of the latest raid gear and things like that. And Seafaring Adventures Vivid Essence boxes are now available for barter with the Adventurers Quartermaster and has a chance to drop from Adventurers Steelbound loot boxes. Epic Hero emote graphics have been updated slightly to prevent a crash. Wait, an emote was causing a crash?
Yeah, I want to know what this emote was doing to cause the crash.
No, it sounds more like an epic crash emote. Applying a new daze to an already dazed target will no longer cause the daze visual effect to be removed. Temple of Uktambur Wing 2 of Third Heen. I know that they had the temporary skill Shield of Blood will no longer remove your gifted strength buff when used. A warning has been added to speak to Gorwyn before exiting Liliot's chamber with the narrative quest The Doom of Sarkford. An issue has been corrected with the narrative quest, The Doom of Sarkforn, when talking to Goldberry while in duo could prevent the second player from being able to finish this quest. Note, the Doom of Sarkforn narrative quest will be versioned upon release. So if you happen to have that quest just before the update, you may have to pick it up again. Fixed a bug that caused frill lighting to flicker with camera movement when per pixel attenuation is enabled. I hope at least one person understood a word of that last sentence.
I think it had something to do with avocados, but I'm not sure.
Okay, I assumed it had something to do with your graphic settings, but right, I guess we go with that.
I'm pretty sure it is one of the graphic settings.
Yes.
One of the ones that I keep off.
Yes, one of the ones you keep off. Descriptions for both the Fold Warbler and the Methedras Nightingale have had their descriptions updated to correctly detail that they can be found in both the Dunland and the Westfold territories. Spiced Goat Shank and Forged Umbari Cutlass has had their descriptions changed to show that they cannot be sold to vendors. The Tier 15 cooking recipe for smoked vegetable stock has been renamed to Shigani vegetable stock. I guess this is most likely because there's already another recipe called smoked vegetable stock earlier in the line. That was really confusing me that they had two recipes with the same name. So it's good that they've taken care of that. The Lothlorian quest, songs for saplings and singing to saplings, will now sequentially direct players to one tree at a time with their locations appearing on the map. The trees will also no longer continue to sparkle after you have sung to them. Thank you very much.
Oh, come on. I mean, wouldn't you want them to sparkle for as long as possible after you sing to them? Come on.
Wait.
Have that warm glow.
But you constantly get lost trying to sing to the same tree 5 times.
I can't hear you. I'm sparkling.
Okay.
Wait,
yes, Cinders?
There's singing quests in Lothlorien?
You're not familiar with the Singing to the Saplings quest?
I don't think I've ever done it. You know
Oh.
what Cinders is doing this week? Well, probably M. But maybe
Well,
Cinders too.
anyway, you'll never experience in the way which has caused a lot of people not particularly like that quest because yeah, the way it was before, it was always a real big pain remembering where everything was.
I am not going to complain about not having to deal with the terrible part of it. I just think it's going to be fun to do in the new version of it. There are a
Okay.
lot of things that I miss the terrible part of. And I
All
am okay
right.
with that.
All right. The Lothlorien questing into the saplings, the drop rate of Malberthil seeds from defeated shrews has been increased to 100%. Uh, yeah, I think there was a bit of an annoying drop rate on that. The Dunlin repeatable instance, glinting in forgotten pools, has been reworked so that each named monster has a chance to spawn before the player begins fishing and will no longer be spawned while fishing is in progress. Thank you very much. I have not done those quests in a long time, especially because of the because if you fish up the monster, you can't fight with a weapon because you're holding a fishing pole. And that has been real pain ever since they changed it so you couldn't switch weapons in the middle of combat.
Yeah. Oh. Well, then we should just have legendary fishing poles.
Legendary fishing poles.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can use your fishing pole as a weapon.
I can get behind this, and you should also be able to name it and upgrade it the same way you do your allies.
Uh huh. All right.
Awesome.
There've also been a few localization updates for French, lore for High Elf Origin, Imladris, and Stout Axe characters now displayed properly in French. The translations in Book 3, Chapter 2, The Body and the Bush, and Book 3, Chapter 10, Spectre of the Grey Fear, now displayed properly in French, and translations for Light Damage on Tooltip has been updated. I'm not too sure which type of light damage they've updated on this, or
My guess would
so,
be that it was referring to the wrong one or using the wrong
yeah,
word.
that's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking of. Is it might have been,
So
yes,
instead of being like light damage with a ray of light coming down, it's light damage, like very little damage.
yes.
Or
Well,
vice
yeah, we're
versa.
not too sure which one it was, but yes, it looks like some of them might have had the wrong translation. That's always a little bit of a possibility. And that's it for update 43.2. So I've heard rumors that there may be a 43.2.1 next week, but we'll see about that. Now for the big news for this week, and that is that they have announced that housing will open on the new 64-bit worlds on Monday, March 31st. We're excited to announce that the phased opening for premium and classic housing in the Lord of the Rings Online starts on Monday, March 31st. To ensure a smooth rollout, housing would be opened by neighborhood and in alphabetical order, with premium housing first, followed by classic housing.
Okay, I gotta love some of the comments though on the announcement.
Yeah.
I was reading through them and um, somebody said, I mean, now we can concentrate everyone on the same broker in a day rather than spread. No panic, no panic. And then somebody else goes, all one can do is decide what to do with the houses offered to us after we get through the queue.
Oh, well.
Boy, it would be infinitely cruel for what is that emote? The emote where it generates the quest ring over your head. If somebody did that,
That would be awful. Then we have somebody else who goes, "The housing is coming, the housing is coming, all hail, the housing is coming. Soon there will be the gnashing of teeth, hellfire falling from the sky, and the people will come forth wielding pitchforks and torches. Run to your newfound
yeah,
homes,
I
close the windows, lock the doors, and shelter in a quiet place. Together we will ride out the storm of angry people coming to the forums to scream and complain about how the housing is opened up. Stay safe, my friends, and good luck."
yeah, I feel like the housing brokers in mass will flee. Or
Oh, well, wait till you hear the rest of this, what the housing brokers are going to be doing. First of all, housing housing will open at different times for the EU and US servers. I mean, yes, I think for one of the rare times where they've decided that they are going to stagger the times between the two, in that the EU servers on those are going to be opening around 6 p.m. Central European time, which is 12 p.m. server time, and the U.S. servers opening up their housing at 6 p.m. U.S. Eastern time. So therefore, they're going to be staggering them that way. So EU servers, Meriadoc, that is going to open up at 12 p.m. Eastern time, which would be, I think that's 6 p.m. Well, at least when they move the clocks forward in about 20 minutes, they will it'll be on track to be 6 p.m. on Central European time. And then Orchrist, they'll open it up at 12:10 p.m. And they're doing that because they have some manual work they're going to be doing along with this to help to smooth things out. So they're going to stagger them 10 minutes apart so that they can get the appropriate staff in order to do everything. On the US server side, Glamdring is going to open up at 6 p.m. US Eastern Time, and Peregrine then will open up their housing at 6:10 p.m. US Eastern Time. So they have the first one in the alphabet for that area. It's going to open up right at the hour, and then 10 minutes later will be the second one in the alphabet of those two servers. I gain the impression that when they get around to opening up those other two servers, they're either going to wait until after this housing storm is over, or they're just going to open up those servers with housing available. I'm not too sure what they're planning on that matter. Now, they are also going to have a bit of, or going to be opening it up stages in the neighborhoods. That means on Monday, they'll be opening up Belfalis housing. And just Belfalis housing, I guess they want to make sure they sort out all the kinks. So they're only going to open up one neighborhood on that. And then the other days, they're going to open up two neighborhoods on each of the days. So therefore, on Tuesday, they're going to be opening up Eastfold and Erebor. On Wednesday, Kingstead and Lindleby. And then on Thursday would be Breland and Fallowthorn. And then on Friday, the Shire and Thorns Hall. Now, one of the things that they're going to do in order to help with this is that they are going to be placing brokers at all of the starting stable masters. And the idea there is that they're going to bring their, it's not just going to be one housing broker there. They are going to have multiple copies of the same one. So therefore, you show up at 6 p.m. at the Breland stable Let's see. Trying to think is if Bree is one of the ones on the list. And anyway, let's assume is that that one of them is the Bree stable master. Then when you're there, you're just going to see all these copies of the Belfalis housing broker popping up. That way you don't have everybody crowding in onto a single broker. So they are essentially going to get help from all their clones in order to in order to handle the big rush of people that are going in and going to be asking for houses.
Why do we have a
So,
feeling that they're going to get everybody in their houses, and the house is going to get sorted, and this massive army of brokers that has been built will just come and take it off from everybody?
you think that the brokers are going to try to take over or something?
So
I
after
isn't this how like I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, you go first.
I was just going to say, isn't this how a lot of horrible apocalyptic movies begin? Oh, and we'll just the brokers will just clone themselves until everything's fine. But wait, what will all the brokers do after the big rush subsides? We're just gonna have this army of brokers just sitting there doing
Well,
what?
the brokers are because before the next army of brokers arrive for the next housing neighborhood on the following day, the previous set of brokers are going to be walking off
So
and leaving the area, maybe getting to their appropriate housing neighborhoods or something like that.
So Cordovan, a little further down in the comments, says some additional notes. This is being localized and will be added prior to the transfers on Monday. Number one, they will be adding extra housing brokers for each neighborhood at all starting areas: Stable Masters, Mickledelving, Kellendam, Thorns Hall, Mossward, and Coombe. Two, please
Oh,
note housing can only be purchased through the housing brokers. The for sale signs will not be available at this time. We encourage you to take advantage of these extra brokers to secure your home more easily. That way, people aren't crowding in specific locations.
right.
Three, we will also have temporary discussion channels available on the LOTRO forums and LOTRO official Discord to provide updates and answer any questions during the housing rollout. Four, all individual neighborhoods within a region will all be available when a specific region's housing opens.
Well, as much as I'd like it to be complete chaos, it sounds like they've thought about things pretty well.
Yeah, they are thinking about all these little things in there. So there are going to be 5 different locations, as you said. Breland was not one of them. All right, but the starting areas in there. So you'd be seeing crowds around the Mickle Delving Stable Masters at the Caledon ones, Thorns Hall, Mossford, and Combe. So be ready for little fun things to be going on over there. Now, one thing to note is that because of the way the algorithms work, that usually things like brokers, they're not expecting them to spawn until a housing neighborhood is empty. So therefore, if you send somebody into a specific housing neighborhood to talk to the broker that's there, well, the fact that you're in that housing neighborhood is going to keep the broker from spawning. At least that's what they're expecting. So they're expecting that if you want to quickly talk to someone, then you're more likely going to have better luck at the crowded stable masters than waiting inside of one of the housing neighborhoods. We'll see. I'm sure at least one person is going to experiment to test that hypothesis out. So maybe they could report on whether they successfully were able to buy a house or not by waiting inside of there. But as far as I know right now, they get the impression that the housing brokers may be delayed in spawning inside of the housing neighborhoods. So don't count on them being there. But they are going to be sending de- mm, I don't, maybe dev's not the right word, but members of the Lotro team to the various stable masters, and they are going to be manually spawning in all those clones of the housing brokers so that everybody will be able to do there. And they're hoping everything will be nice and smooth. And just remember that, yes, you could theoretically go to the housing broker office in Bree, but it only if you like. They're expecting there to be pretty big crowds there, so
Somebody did say, I wonder how many people will fit in the housing broker's office um, in Bree. But somebody was suggesting that if you wanted something that would be a little less crowded, Kellendam and Coombe might be the place to go. because they don't have hunter ports, warden ports, or return skills associated with them.
Mariner ports, though.
Uh, yes.
Yeah, but the
Mariner.
mariners are less likely to be owning houses, of course, simply because most of the people bought their houses before mariners existed.
Well, I thought you were going to say they're holding out for houseboats.
Oh, that's always
Oh
a
no.
possibility. but but yeah, that's right because Mickleduming has a hunter port. Killen has a mariner port, but I think they're going to be less like. Yeah, Thorns Hall is a very common port to have, regardless of race or anything like that. Mossword is well, a lot of that's also one which is maybe less likely. If and that is assuming that you're making your homeowner one who was a homeowner back in the previous server, because they're the ones who are going to have the writs on them. Then yes, the Mossword is less likely that a Mossword character would have such things. And Comb is such a pain in the neck to get to that that it's one that might be less crowded unless everybody thinks it's going to be less crowded and you have 80% of the people going there.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's going to be a game of psychology, I guess, which one to go to. But yes, that's the whole thing on it. The Mad Rush is going to start on Monday. We'll see how the Mad Rush is going and all. Now they're expecting it that the first hour is going to be a Mad Rush, and after that it's going to settle down into a better pace. But of course, if the house you're looking for is already taken within an hour, then that's sort of the trade-off in there. Do I have a better chance at getting what I want if I go with it right away or if I wait?
Also, there are Isengard jokes about the housing as well in the chat. Totally worth reading. They're taking the houses to Isengard. Now that would be a depressing neighborhood. Can't wait to see what the premium elf housing will be like. Though we're all going to have to wait for now. And then somebody goes, "You got that wrong. It is the other way around. I have been lugging around the damn Tower of Orthanc in my purse since March 7th. Somebody else. Just a few of them. Isengard has 5.
Oh, we couldn't go through a Isengard, I guess, joke series without that one coming in. Anyway, today I was checking out my various characters to see how many housing writs I had, which characters had housing writs and stuff like that. And so I was saying, okay, so on Peregrine, I'm wondering, all right, now on Peregrine, I guess I had one Belfalis house and one little B house. I'm probably going to do the same thing there. But on Glamdring, I have 2 characters that owned houses because they came from different servers. And they both owned the house at the same location. So I thought, well, I don't want 2 copies of the same house. So I'm trying to decide, am I going to get a bigger house?
Neighbors.
Well, yeah, there's always that possibility. But I was thinking that one possibility was to have either to get a bigger house to that would be the price of those 2 combined, or if I would get a cheaper house within the old neighborhood and then use the remainder in order to get a house in Lindleby for that one. So therefore, to do combined, so that I can, because I checked out the prices and all this stuff, it could work out where I could get one in Belfalis and one in Lindleby for the price of those 2 houses combined. It's just I had to get a cheaper house than one I had before over on Belfalis. And on Meridoc is straightforward. And on Orcrist, I finally found out something that was bugging me. Because I was wondering, okay, here we go. And I have here my character. I expected to have 10 housing writs in there, and it's at 40. Why do I have 40 housing writs? I didn't have 4 characters owning houses on this server. And I found out, oh, that was my character that had that tower house in Rohan. I had forgotten what server I had that house in. So I said, what? So anyway, I was pretty sure I had a house with a tower in it somewhere, but I was thinking, well, no, it's not on Lange. Was it? Where was it? Turned out it was on Evernight, and now, so I have to decide whether or not I'm going to get that tower house again. So it's trying to decide, okay, what am I going to do with all these housing writs? That's sort of the fun that I was having this week. So I will be ready and know what I want by Monday. Have you made any plans for housing yet? Or are you just going to wait the tidal wave?
I might see how the housing is going. So my characters had premium houses in Rohan and Lindleby. I think I had 3 of them by the time I got done, thanks to Sans. They make great birthday presents. And so think I'm going to be looking for those same ones. I'm not tied to the specific neighborhood, but I'd like to have those similar type of house back. And then I had a regular house in the Shire that I'll eventually get something similar as well.
Right.
And some people are also talking. So if you do end up stuck with a big bear butt in your way, just remember F10 plus U is your friend for selecting blocked NPCs if you're in a crowded broker location.
Yeah. Okay, please, if you're playing a Bjorning, please buy your house in human form.
And Lore Masters, please put your bear pets away.
Please put your bear pets away, yeah, so that we don't have these big bears making things more difficult for everybody.
And maybe
now I want to see
turn off
bears
your
everywhere.
cloaks and
Bring out your bears.
Maybe I should turn down my graphics just before this happens.
A teddy bear's picnic plays in the background. It would be so funny if some people got together, if one of the musical groups got together and played the teddy bear's picnic.
Well, the problem is there might be just so many people at one of those places that
it would be a perfect location for a gigantic festival.
Right. Well, I was just wondering because there was I know the first time I was at oh boy, let's see. At Weatherstock. The first time I went to Weatherstock, I didn't know all about turning down the graphics and things like that. So therefore, the music, let's just say it was hard to tell it was music. it was that bad because it sounded a lot better following years when I finally learned that, yes, you turn down your graphics so that you could actually process the music.
So that's like when you're in the car and you're driving and you have to turn down your radio so you can see where you're going. But the reverse.
Yeah.
Turn down your graphics. You don't need to see where you're at. You just have to hear the beautiful music.
Right. That's the way it goes. So that's all that we have really so far into it. I'm sure that next week we could report our. Oh, that's right, Krister. Do you have any plans for this, or are you just going to wait until it's all over?
Krister rents. Krister rents.
Krister rents. In other words, you go to the guild house or something, the kid house.
No, he lives in Bree. He's lived in Bree.
You just live in Bree. Okay.
1-bedroom apartment in Bree. Been there the entire time.
You have a loft on top of Lalia's Market.
Yeah, you know that one place where you keep seeing the lady coming in and out looking at the window? I live right next to her.
All right.
I got a good deal and I ain't moving.
You got a good deal. Yes. So just remember once again, the for sale signs are going to be turned off, so you do have to go to a housing broker in order to buy. I'm sure that as soon as the land rushes over and things stabilize, they will turn on those for sale signs and get things working back into a more normal process. Now, the Spring Festival. The Spring Festival has been extended through April 8th. So that means that you have an extra week in order to do all your stuff. So it will turn off at 3 a.m. on April 9th, as usual thing, where they want to make sure that it stays on all the way through the day and until even if you're in California, which I presume maybe I'm figuring that's the reason why they do it at 3 a.m. is because that's midnight in California. And that is it for main things, but there are some things that are planned for next week. First off, they're expecting the letter to the players for the second quarter to come out sometime next week, either on Monday or maybe a couple of days into this. So maybe it's something that you could read while you're waiting for the housing brokers to show up. And then we can see what's coming up this spring and this summer. We're also expecting a small update to come out. I don't know how they're going to time this along with the housing brokers because servers, well, they usually come if there's no update, they're usually up before noon, but I've found that if there's an update, it might take a little longer. That's more likely to be 1 p.m. before it does. So that can potentially affect the timing of the opening of them unless they scooch over the opening time of the housing neighborhoods for that particular day. But anyway, they're expecting that to add a new patrons coffer. So I guess next week we're likely to be discussing what's in the latest patrons coffer. You have any suggestions on what? I guess, Krister, you want a Balrog patrons coffer?
Well, okay, I'm not that greedy. Maybe just a Dragog one.
Dracog one.
That would be a good
I don't
one.
see
Yep,
that shouldn't be a big deal.
I would have thought that the more likely time to do a dragon themed patrons coffer would have been last year during the year of the dragon.
Well, that's what they'd like you to think.
Oh, you
That's
think
why
they're
you
being
don't do
sneaky?
it on that exactly. See, isn't part of a dragon's repertoire being sneaky? You think of them tough and fire breathing and mean and all that kind of stuff, but I think they're supposed to be sneaky too.
Okay. Well, they can be tricksy, I guess.
Exactly.
Do you have a wish list on a patron's coffer, Cinders?
No, I don't actually. I've got all my
Yeah.
hopes pinned on Shire Plum for Warsteed Cosmetics.
All right.
That's what I really want to see.
A Shire
So,
Plum's patron
so,
coffer.
so if there's a Shire Plum themed page, so if it's
Ugh.
a spring theme with spring Shire, I was thinking Shire Plum. That's a festival one, right?
It is.
Is it up this year or is it not this year?
I honestly didn't look this year.
What? I was like, you've been first in line to see if Shire Plum was
Um,
available this year.
so I still have over 100 Shire Plum dyes in my bag. Um,
Okay.
because I really only dye the things that M wears.
Right.
And so she has some favorite
Cin-
outfits that I haven't really updated.
Cinder says propped up the Shire Plum industry for years.
I
It's
have.
okay.
I actually got a lot of help from Trish and Terry. Uh, so I to get me going on it, and then I kind of ran with it.
Okay.
But yes, no, I have plenty of Shire Plum dyes right now. So I haven't been looking. I also haven't really been doing festival questing this year.
Okay. Busy, yes.
Yes. So
Now, there's also the possibility that there could be an announcement relating to a new pair of servers. And because of how crowded things are, especially on Orcris, but also a bit crowded also on Glamdring. So they're preparing a couple of new servers, so they may be coming up sometime next week or the week after that in order to do that. So we'll see what happens in that department. But that could be an entirely new land rush happening over on that end. And we're expecting to have a new casual stroll next week. So Scenario would be going through another area on there. I'm not too sure where he'll be going. I think he's probably somewhere in the going to be up in the Vales, maybe. I guess we'll find out when he has his little stream. That's probably on a Wednesday. He usually has those on a Wednesday. And they also said that they're pushing back the opening of T3 for the new raid up to April 10th. And I think part of that is to avoid maybe clashing with the festival. And also because there's just so much going on in there, they just want breathing time on there before they really get the raid all ready. But they think that the raid is ready to be released. It's just that they think that things are a little too crazy on the servers this next week to be turning on the lights for a new raid, or I should say a new tier of a raid. And that's it for what's coming up next week. So let's see what's on sale. Anything to do with Shire Plum, Cinders?
Sadly, not necessarily.
Okay.
But it could be tweaked a little bit. Store sales make your piece of Middle Earth shine. Get 30% off of select housing decorations, select housing sets, and select cloaks. Some cloaks are dyeable. Now through April 3rd, and the weekly coupon is for a free dye of sea blue with the coupon code Ocean Blue, no spaces. Now through April 3rd.
All right. Thank you, Cinders. And that's what we have on there. Now, it looks like that if we have if I understand the timing right, the EU has joined us in the land of time shift a few minutes ago. So therefore, our clocks next week should be aligned
Sounds
to our
kind of
usual
ominous. What
alignment
is that?
relative to each other. What?
That sounds kind of ominous. What is that?
What, the
Time shift.
time shift?
Yeah, their
I'm
time
talking
just
about.
changed.
Sounds like storm clouds should be gathering when you say that.
Oh well.
Feel of lightning.
Well, I was thinking the time shift, the one that happens in the springtime for daylight time, where we
Yeah.
did it 3 weeks ago and Europe did it just now.
I would much rather
But
fall
did we?
back than spring forward. Springing
Well,
forward is not fun.
No. I agree with you.
all right then. Let's go and have what we are doing last week in our gaming. And Cinders, what were you up to?
So I played on Peregrine for the first time with Pine Leaf. And Cinderina, the character, has almost escaped the city of Umbar to continue questing into the newest areas. Pine Leaf and I are taking those characters on the direct main quest line only path, with the exception of the Driftwood storyline. And she is the first character I have played through the storyline who got to meet the other Driftwood. So she got to see how the storyline goes when Horn doesn't die. So that was kind of fun. And then I played some Dinkum on my school year world. And it did take a little bit of time to reorient myself to what I was attempting. But I'm still in summer of year one and making a surprising amount of progress. So very happy with that.
School year world?
Yes. So I have a Summerville, I think is what I called one of them. And then I have school year.
Okay. All right.
Amongst the other ones that I've got. So
all right.
I started this one at the beginning of the school year and then obviously quit playing it for a while. And then was like, I kind of want to play Dinkum. So I fired it up yesterday morning, I think. I was like, what was I doing? So I played it a little bit. I was like, okay, I think I remember. I'm now on like day 19 of summer one. And then it froze on me this morning. So
Ouch.
So,
when it froze, I decided I could stop what I was doing and get breakfast, and I haven't come back to it yet. So, how was your week, Krister?
well, as opposed to just kind of sitting and brie and looking at people while I'm atop my incredible looking war steed, I decided to start working on my main quest adventure as well. So did a little questing near Umbar, and I reached Iridir and began harassing the locals there. So I was quite proud of myself.
Of,
Uh,
of harassing the locals?
yes, yeah. Krister is, if anything, proud of being annoying. So,
Aha.
and then did some hell diving with Jay Mercy, which was pretty fun. And I did some shipbuilding in Starship Evo, and then have this card game called Beam NG, which has highly realistic physics and cars. And I ended up just having a very happy time at one point this week, throwing cars off of cliffs, and that was that was my week in gaming. Finally, what were you up to?
I know because when you first said card game, I thought you said card game for a moment, and
Throwing cars off
a
cliffs
card
might be
game with some
entertaining.
good physics.
That might be entertaining too.
Yes. All right. First of all, my guardian reached a level 50 and has headed into Moria. So I started questing over in the Dolphin View over there. So just doing my. Actually, I think I reached level 52 since I originally wrote this thing. So yeah, I reached level 52. So I have my LI and then questing in Moria and going on my quest to see how far I can get without using a valor or anything like that with this character. And then for the field trip, we were searching for signs of a raid near the Great River. And for Friday night fights, we ran Barad Guldur, that which is enough for one night. I guess you could say on this. So I was playing I was on my hunter uh, last night for that. So we managed to get through that. I think we only had one or two whites on there. So it was a pretty good run on Barad Guldur. And that's it for my weekend Lotro. We do not have any emails this week, but if you like send one, you can send it to podcast at lotraplayers.com. The Players Alliance has two shows on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We have a Lotra Players News, and we record DDO Players News when Drac is available. You can join us for our shows at lotraplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight then. This is Pine Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.